Welcome to Transit Talk, Human Design Transit's real talk in real time. I'm Kathy.
And I'm Jess. We meet up about every 6 days to explore the current human design transits and how they're actually showing up in our lives. And we'd love for you to join us.
We're talking energy in the moment, what we're feeling, what we're noticing, and what the transits are stirring up inside us and all around us.
So whether you're joining us live or listening later, we're glad you're here.
Let's get into it. Okay, so this was an adventurous, emotional experience for me, Jess. You just stressed. Okay, so Jess and I were messaging back and forth this morning, and literally, like, I saw a couple messages came through while I was doing stuff, and I looked at the message 25 minutes before we were going to start, and it had come through like at 35 minutes before we were going to start, and it said, running into bar class now, and I'm like, what? Like, so for, wait, it's today. So there was a part of me that was like, okay, if she's not here, what am I going to do? Because I was like, do you know what time it is? Do you know what day it is? Are you running for that next adventure, huh?
I'm going for all the experiences. Oh, we're getting crazy light. I'm pink now. Look at that. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to roll with that.
We're both in different environments today, too. I decided, because I'm representing the energy of Gate 5, rhythms. This was very out of our rhythms. I decided to go with the rhythm of nature, and so I came outside in my yard because rhythms are very grounded in, our natural rhythms are really grounded in nature. So
Yeah, I love that. So today, surprise, it's so funny because in my mind, it made so much sense. It was like, of course I'll be there. Like, why would I not be there? So I'm doing Gate 35 today, which is about change and progress. And Phaedra and I decided to sign up for this class, which before today, about an hour ago, I thought it was called Barre. It's not Barre, it's called Barre. And it is it's a deadly class. Anybody who does Barre, like, hats off to you, this class. I didn't even make it through the whole class. That's a hop out early. Oh my goodness, kicked my butt.
yeah,
Amazing.
I'm familiar with those classes, although I have never even attempted to do one. So
It's something, but it's a beautiful experience because like the camaraderie you get with everybody in there, because we're all like, oh my gosh, we are
and
dying.
it's so great because last week you were talking about wanting to be a ballerina, and it's like the ballet bar is what it's based on, right? So
exactly.
You have that next experience. Right?
Be careful what you wish for, right? It's going to happen, especially with the transit we're in right now, where we're getting that emotional depth. Let me actually just pull that up right now, where exactly what we're feeling, especially when it's like emotionally charged, and that's moving directly through from the solar plexus up to the throat, like speaking into reality. This is where manifestation happens, right? So let's share, take a look at.
While you share, I have to let my barking dog in the house. This is what happens when I come outside. She has to decide where she wants to be, in and out.
Where so are you looking at my Zoom or are you looking at can you see? Okay, she's gone. So we're gonna go with it and assume you can see. So right now
I can see it.
Okay, you can see it. Perfect. Let me zoom in just a tiny bit. So right now we're in Gate 35 for the sun, which is change and progress. And that is right over here, as I was speaking about before. This is in the throat. And so all the throat gates kind of have like a little sentence that goes with them. And so Gate 35 is I feel. And Gate 35 right now is currently connected to 36, which we spoke about previously, which was crisis. So we have that full channel right now, and that's the channel of transitoriness. And then Earth right here is in Gate 5, right? And that's what Kathy's doing. And this is the gate of fixed patterns. It's also known as the gate of waiting. And so the Gate 5 right here is actually the sacral. That's that sacral energy. Stop share. So it was so perfect because Phaedra and I were looking for a class. We've been doing HIT class on Sundays, which it was hard when we started, but great music, great environment. We're like, let's try something different. She was like, okay, here's this class, which again, previously I thought was Barre, not Barre. Barre class. She's like, let's give it a try. I was like, amazing. Full sacral, yes. And now this is the interesting thing about that sacral yes. It doesn't always make sense, right? So in the moment, it felt perfect. Last night, she texted me and she's like, hey, so excited about our Barre class, our bar class. And I'm like, oh no, it's at 11:15. I was like, I have at 12 o'clock our transit talk, right? And I was like, okay, what am I doing here? Feeling into this. And I'm like, this moment of like questioning, okay, do I cancel the class? And I'm like, that doesn't feel right to cancel. I was like, we're definitely not moving the transit talk. And I was like, what if this is the change. And that's when I messaged you. I was like, can I do gate 35? Change feels so prominent right now to do it in a new environment. Because normally when we do the transit talks, I'm in my office, I'm at home, I'm dressing up. What if the change is that whole new experience, which is the essence of the 35, right? It's looking for these new experiences, not that they're right or wrong. I mean, this could be terrible. My computer could turn off, the internet could not work. I mean, like all the things could happen, but none of that matters. And that's the energy we're feeling in the 35 right now. I mean, I could turn pink. Like somehow I'm pink. I don't even
Hey,
understand.
you got a pink light on you or something.
It's
But
not even pink, it's yellow. So I don't even know what's happening, but maybe it's like channeling the pink in my hair. Who knows? But it's
maybe.
perfect. But it's not necessarily for the actual like perfection of the experience. It's like I'm here to culminate all these experiences and try all these different things so that I've had that lived experience. So really noticing in the 35 right now, as we're switching out of that 16 energy, because the 16 energy we just came from is about skills, right? And that's experiences, but it's mastering those experiences, right? It's that repetition versus now this energy is a little bit different where it's like, I'm going to try all the things, right? I'm going to go and sit in the outdoor pool area and do the transit talk.
Wow. So yeah, that was an exciting thing, and you might have told me.
But I feel like
You said something out, I want to do gate 35 because there's a lot of changes, and then you were talking to me about so for those who don't know, Jess and I are putting together this Karma Clearing by Design masterclass, and so you were messaging me all kinds of things about that. Your mind is really on that. We were focusing on getting the sign-up page so that people could sign up for it today, and nothing was mentioned about today's transit talk when you said running into a bar class, not like not even running into a bar class real quick. We'll see you in a little bit. Nothing like just like running into bar class. And I'm like, okay, so this will be a new experience. I might be doing this. And then I was like, do I do it later? She's not there. Do I start it and then just hope she joins in? Like I was already, well, it's funny because even though I had all those thoughts, they weren't stressful. It was really a thing of like, and I even grabbed, like when I came down here, I was like, oh, I'll grab a couple of my Oracle decks. Maybe I'll pull a card while we're waiting for Jess. And I was like, ooh, and then I remembered I have this one I don't really use, which felt really tied to our Karma by Design thing. Maybe I will pull a card today anyway.
Yes.
You want me to pull a card?
Do.
Okay.
So I just went back through our text messages and because I was like, I swear I said something. I said, can I do gate 35? I'll be doing the transit talk right after my bar class in a new location, all the change. But that was very clear.
That was yesterday. Sorry.
That was yesterday, yes. That wasn't very clear. So in my mind, I had all this excitement about like,
it was clear.
That
was clear that you'll be doing it after you did say it there. And I had already moved on to a new day and new thoughts and more, I'm not kidding. Like my thoughts are like that to me. So anyway, but it was just supposed to give me that little bit of excitement, I guess, to be, maybe that's why I wasn't really nervous because inside I knew I'd read that. I just didn't consciously remember it. So I'm going to pull a card for us.
Yes, please do.
From this deck by Abiola Abrams that is called Secrets of the Ancestors. And I'm doing this as a shameless promotion for our Karma by Design Masterclass that we're going to be offering on June 11th. And the card I got says, The Shadow, Trials and Tribulations. Interesting. So now how do I find that? It's number 18. So when I look in the little book, and it says, watch your back. Caution, danger up ahead. This is a time of illusions. If they tell you the sky is blue, check. Dishonesty, deception, and uncertainty are in the air. Trust your intuition. Your inner voice is screaming to get your attention. There is more to the situation than meets the eye. You are in for a roller coaster ride. Oh, this doesn't sound nice, but let's keep going because I have thoughts already. Emotional stress is no joke. The dark night of the soul is upon you. Your subconscious fears and limiting beliefs are showing out. Be aware of how you project fear in relationships, conversations, and negotiations. The things you stuffed down in your subconscious are refusing to be suppressed anymore. You must deal with your shadow selves. Dive headfirst into creative pursuits. Ancestral memory. The shadow shows up as Yoruba trickster god Isu with the moon with two faces to represent his ability to communicate between realms. He is the Orisha or deity of marginal worlds, a protective messenger between the earth and the divine. Ancestral medicine. The funny thing about that shadow is that it always pops up. Have you done any shadow work? Shadow, oh, it wasn't reversed. Okay, and it corresponds to the moon. Declaration, I am willing to feel and release my fears and doubts. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. This is the first card I've ever pulled from this deck. I got it a while ago. I used to have a subscription box
Yeah.
for Hay House. So that feels a little dark energy, but what I do like is for those who can't see, I'm going to describe this card. This card has two wolves, right? The dark wolf and the light wolf. And so that makes me think of and it has some other symbols too, but that makes me think of that I think it's a Native American story about there are two wolves, one is good and one is bad, and they're both like vying for your soul, your responses, whatever, and which one wins, and it's the one you feed, right? So these trials and tribulations. I also was listening to a transit video from Denise Matthews, who I love her transit videos on YouTube, and she tends to talk more how things are affecting people collectively. And she was talking about how Mars later this month goes into gate 4. I think it was Mars she was saying. She was saying that things might not be as they see. She was saying to always like be aware. I don't know what this has to do with what we're going to talk about today, but maybe as we talk about today, we'll see. Did that mean anything to you other than it felt kind of icky to me?
At first it did, and then I was like, "Oh, this is so perfect. This is exactly in so many different places." I feel like there were my own
Right.
personal messages in there. And then Casey actually said, she said, "Watch your expectations," which yes, absolutely. And also, oh, hi, Casey.
Just came
Love
in.
to hear your thoughts on this. And then part of it too is when we have, that whole channel, right? It's the gate of crisis, but it's not
Right.
necessarily that crisis is a problem. It's moving through that emotional, right? And that one is so deeply rooted in fear. It's the fear of, those things that you have those insecurities until you get to move through those things where you have that inexperience and you get to move through those. So potentially it's speaking to that. But also with the gate 5, with like fixed patterns, it's the energy of a fixed pattern. But so often we live in that not self, right? So this could be speaking to that not self that may be looking at that shadow side where you're in a habit right now, you're in a pattern that maybe it's not the right one for you, right? It's not in the, I feel like that card was for me. Jonathan. Yeah, absolutely. Would love to hear more about that, how that's landing for you, Jonathan. But looking at, potentially where are those shadow sides now where you're so fixed in a rhythm and you're so fixed in something that you're doing, but it's not serving you. It's not in the flow, right? Of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what, we're in this energy where, we're meant to be grounded in our rhythms, but at the same time, radiate with that, have this sense of security that brings us into these new adventures, these new experiences is the energy right now, right? So if grounded is not the same as tethered and held back, it's not like we're held back by our patterns and our rhythms. We are able to have these new experiences because we have the security, this foundation of these rhythms. And then what's really interesting is later tonight, Jupiter is moving into gate 15. So then we're going to have that whole channel, gate 15 is the gate of extremes, and it combines with gate 5 to make that full channel. We've got the channel 35, 36 right now. So both of these energies are what are, the sun and earth energies are both connecting with other planetary bodies to create full channels. So these are going to be very specific, eh, you know, impacts on everyone. Sometimes when we just get a half, the one gate, it impacts the people who have the other side of the channel in their chart. it impacts them in way different ways than it impacts those of us who don't have either, right? So having that full channel defined, we're all going to feel all of that energy. And that's going to be interesting to observe how this channel of transitoriness and this channel of rhythms are really going to work on a collective level where we're all experiencing them, and they are collective energy, both of them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So Casey said dancing between chaos and structure. Absolutely. And there's such a difference in this, right? Because if you think about it, the sun right now is like, let's go experience. Let's go to the gym. Let's go and do a live in the middle of a pool area. Let's go and do all these different like new things, right? That chaos energy. And then we're sitting in the earth and it's like, what are my fixed rhythms? Like, what is the waiting piece, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I have hanging 15 Mars. Gate 5 is a big influence for me. Oh, yeah. If I don't know if you can come on, but would love to hear about how that's showing up for you, because that was a big one that Ra talked about, how, if you have, one side or the other. Yeah, actually, if you want to come on and share your experience of it.
Are you okay? You're really,
Can you? Yeah. Can you hear me?
yeah.
Yes, you
I can
can.
hear you.
Good to see you guys. It's so funny. I just did the transit report for gate 35 too. I was so excited about this. Like, I woke up this morning and I was like, I think I was feeling your energy too, Jess. Like, oh my God, we're in gate 30. Like, all week it's going to be gate 35, 36.
Yeah.
I just woke up. I'm like, so exciting, and, I'm heading over to dance right now to get that emotional expression out. And I just fully a lot of people in dance are undefined solar plexus. So they fully expect my expectations. I fully expect a lot of tears and howling, and yeah, I think it's also today is Mercury Kazemi. So it's like, it's a good day to just express and like reflect on your stories of like, what can you learn from your past experiences, which is a lot of what gate 35 is also about, is like, it likes to relive those emotional. Sorry. Yeah.
So Mercury Kazemi is today?
Yep. So gate 35, Mercury and the sun are in both gate 35 today, within 3 degrees.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought it had to be closer because Mercury's gate 35 line 4 and sun just entered 35. So I'm not at that
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in 3 degrees. So the 3 degrees counts. It's not like direct.
Yeah.
I think at some point later today, it is going to be. Actually, no, it's not going to be direct at all because it's just going to keep moving. But yeah, I think it's going to stay within that 3 degree window until like later today, like the evening. Yeah. So I always pay attention to Mercury Kazemi because like Gemini season, Mercury Kazemi.
For those who don't know, can you just explain Kazemi a little bit? What
Kazemi means
access?
It's like the sun and the sun and whatever planet is in the same gate or within the same degree are conjunct. It's like the sun is amplifying. So the neutrino stream is like pushing through that planet, and it's like amplifying that energy of that planet even more. So it's like speaking through the lens, kind of, of that planet. Yeah.
So when you get a Mercury Kazemi, which is one that seems to happen a lot because the Mercury and sun travel so close together, it really amplifies communication and kind of that understanding.
Yeah. And at gate 35 in Gemini, so it's like, to me, gate 35 in Gemini is like the most talkative and kind of like hyper version of Gemini, like.
Yeah. And Mercury rules Gemini. Mercury is the planet that rules Gemini, right? Yeah.
Right. So it's all this. So today it feels like it's a really good day to just, I don't know, like.
Yes, to move. Yes. That's such a big part of it, that movement, because that's what it's calling for. The channel's asking you to try and do everything to get things moving, to get things stirred up. And I love how you brought up with the 35 that it's really about looking about in the past what happened. So it's not necessarily like I'm going through this thing and sharing, because there's a big part of the 35 that's here to share, right? Especially with the throat center, here to share with others as well, what it is, but it's something that you've been through and you have experienced. So noticing, potentially like, where am I sharing something that I'm in the middle of right now versus like something I've had that experience and I'm having that reflection on it. So really tuning into the feelings of that.
Hey, so
Yeah, I noticed.
I was going to say, you said you have, but I was going to change subject. So if you want to speak to what she's saying, go ahead. I was
just going to say, like, I've noticed that people with gate 35 can, like, when they're telling me about a story, they are like physically, emotionally reliving it, and that experience is like, it's helping them to see something new inside of, from a different angle, or maybe from a different person listening or something like that,
Right.
And yeah, it's like they get to physically relive that moment, which I
Right.
don't, I'm emotionally defined too. And I can remember an emotion and start to kind of like mentally think of it, and sort of, but I don't full on like start, like, I can remember the time that I completely broke down, but I won't start breaking down again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway, yeah.
the thing I was going to ask you though, because you said you have hanging gate 15 as a Mars. Hey, Phaedra.
Yes.
Do you have it as your unconscious or conscious Mars?
It is my conscious Mars.
Okay. So I'm wondering, because I was contemplating this as I was writing this, the transit report for this, because so gate 15 and gate 5 are completely different energies, right? So when two people, they say it's one of the hardest electromagnetic channels.
Electromagnetics. Right? Yep. Absolutely. 100%.
No.
Yeah. And I didn't believe that until I lost a few friendships and few relationships after.
Yeah. I wonder how it feels when you get it in a transit then. Is it as difficult do you feel really conflicted with your, because gates.
No, I like it, actually. It like,
okay.
I kind of like it. It brings like stability. I don't feel forced into someone else's rhythm. I get to learn new things about what it's like spirit is teaching me about rhythm. It's kind of, like it's still hard because I'm having to like really look at my patterns and really look at like what are my routines. And so I have I just tend to have like no routine. Like I just tend to like, which is kind of hard as a single mom, right? So like every morning I get my kids to school, for example, and every single morning we have a different routine. We do the same exact things. We get to school on time, but the order and the cadence is like literally different every single time. And so over time, I've gotten really good at like just trusting that it's all going to happen and not get so like wrapped up in the story around it. But whenever I have gate 5 activating in transit, it's like I find new ways to either embrace or kind of like, like I find new ways to have new routine. Yeah. And yeah. So yeah.
There's a member of the group. I haven't seen her in the group for a while, but her name is Mia Barre, and she used to put her little videos that she would do for different channels. And I remember she posted in the group, she shared a video that was about this channel, and it stuck with me as the best explanation of the 515, where she described it, and I'm paraphrasing horribly, but she talked about a good dancer, and a good dancer has to have some consistency of rhythm, but they also have to have some sort of like extreme like bursts of energy, and that's the flavor of the channel. And if you have two people who are dancing, she didn't say this, I'm extrapolating here, But, you know, I could think if you have two people who are dancing, like imagine if you have one person and they're like that guy, you know, we all remember that guy from middle school or high school dances who just kind of went like this the whole time, right? Right? And then you got the person
Right.
who's, ooh, super fly.
That's me. That's
Well, they're like flying over the place.
he constantly take when I dance. I'm constantly changing. There's like the beat. I can't stay in one beat
You're
at
never
any time.
But I mean, those
Yeah.
two people probably not going to make the best dance couple, right?
No, right. And so whenever I dance with people, like literally when I'm going to dance right now. So like whenever I dance with people, we'll start with like a rhythm, a routine, but then I just find myself like moving out of it. Like within a minute, like less than a minute, I will find my body just, okay, good. Like keep on moving. I want to dance on myself. I want to express how I want to express, you know, I feel like being stuck in someone else's rhythm, especially as a projector for too long, like my body wants to move out of it and do whatever it wants to.
Yeah. Okay. So we've had absolutely no rhythm to how we're talking about the transition. We're just having an adventure.
I just jumped on it. Totally took
all
over.
out of our total.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I started pulling a card and we started just whatever. So maybe we, if it feels right, Jess, should we back up and maybe talk about, you know, we're already halfway in. So maybe just talk quickly about, we already kind of gave a good overview of gate 35. Maybe talk about the lines of gate 35 and then we'll go more into gate 5.
Yeah, absolutely. That feels great. Also wanted to share, it's so funny because I think I sent it to you as well. Yuri had messaged me something about the trickster energy as well, and how that was like showing up in like some dynamic with the gene keys with that. So it's interesting that that came up with the card as well. And so the way that Richard shared it, and it was like the cutest little thing. It was like him in this tree. like and so he was sharing that it's not necessarily like a good or bad thing. It's just this energy of change. It's this energy that comes to like disrupt, and it can feel disruptive and be like, oh no, the trickster's here changing things. But it's actually, it can be a really beautiful thing that can help like evolve humanity into something new, into like a different paradigm. So, you know, that just came up thinking about your card. So
Yeah.
that's good. And then I also want to add, so Phaedra has gate 5 as well. And so she's
Your friend who just popped her head in.
yeah, my bestie who made it all the way through class, and she's a freaking phenomenal human. I thought I was gonna die in that bar class. So let's see, she's got it. Oh, okay, so this is interesting. It's Uranus unconscious, but I've definitely noticed. So I don't have the 5 or the 35 defined. And Phaedra is like this very anchoring point in my life for me, where she has these beautiful like rhythms of like knowing what's going on. Like if there's like a children's event, she's like, hey, this is going on here. Hey, there's like this thing we can go out and get like the sea urchins. Hey, there's this thing at the like I don't even know, like all these miraculous things that I'm like, yes, I want to go to. Yes, this sounds amazing. I'm like, how the hell do you know about these things, right? Like she's like my anchor point that's like, okay, and then we're gonna do like, let's do this, and like, you know, we're not doing hit class, let's try. So there's like flexibility in it. It's not necessarily like a fixed rhythm, and that she's like dogmatic of like we do the same thing, but there's like a rhythm to her. She's like, it's Sunday, we're doing our class, like let's do this bar class, you know? And so bringing for me, because I'm not consistent, like I would go to class and then I would not go to class for a month and then wake up one day and be like, oh, I haven't been to class, let's go do this. So it's a beautiful friendship where that gets to come in, and that's something I really, really value in her. And I'm sure that's in other places too, but just noticing her 5. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sitting here with my book open from Chetan, looking at the lines and thinking, no wonder I wasn't stressed when I thought you weren't here, other than the fact that you told me, and clearly I just,
Yeah.
you know, I used to always I go back and forth between calling them senior moments and thinking, it's the open ajna. That stuff's just all in there, you know, just, but line 1 is holding steady, accepting setbacks as part of life's process. Whether you see yourself as right or not, it's always possible to take rejection personally. But the whole idea of like holding steady, like accepting setbacks as part of life's process, feels like it's very much where I'm like, you know, it is what it is, right? And whatever, it'll be fine. If she's not here, I'll miss her, and but maybe there'll be something different that comes up. Maybe I'll have a new experience, right? Was kind of my thought. And I was like, let's see what happens. Maybe someone else will show up that, not that you can ever be replaced, Jess. That is not what I'm implying. But, okay.
I love that. And it's interesting because even like thinking through doing this, like this is very not me. Like I like to have things done, I guess, like in a particular way, but there was no like trepidation to it. It was kind of like, okay, if the computer turns off, I'll have my phone ready. If I can't find internet, I'll do it this way. Like everything, because they were all like my mind was kind of busy, but my body was just like, it's fine. Like there was no level of chaos to it in like the feeling of like,
Do you have your book with you?
I do. So, do you want to do 35 first? So 35 1.
Yeah.
Yep, is
I
humility.
just read it already on this side. So.
Yeah. Yep.
Hi,
So,
Julia.
hi.
So line 1 is humility.
Humility. And then line 2 is creative block.
Okay. Do you want to maybe read that? Because they have the little, like the ability to accept rejection like that. You could read that part too.
So I wrote down just what the line names were. I don't have that.
Okay. You lied. I said you have your book and you said yes.
Oh, no, I don't have my book. No, I have my notes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So line 1 is the ability to accept rejection, it says. And then I already read it in Chetan's book. And so now line 2, Julia, do you have gate 35 before we get too far into this? Do you have gate 35 defined in your chart? Anywhere? Do you? If not, it's okay. I mean, if we get to a line and you have it, I always like to talk to the person about it. So.
Oh, say that again, Ben.
Do you have gate 35 defined in your chart? You don't know? Okay, that's fine. We're going to keep going through the lines. And if you do, just jump out and tell us. So line 2, you said is. No, okay. You said, did you already read line 2, Jessica? Jess?
Yeah, line 2 is the creative block.
Okay, which it goes on to say lack of inspiration, which stops progress. And in Chetan's book, he calls it growing, which is interesting because that feels different. Every interaction brings potentially new experiences. Sometimes your endeavors are held back until you're available to receive assistance. So what does that mean to you? The availability till you're available to receive assistance.
That feels very right to me. It's like, you get a block in your way and that's where you get creative. You get to do it in a different way versus, doing it the same way potentially you have been doing it. So you get to explore new and different ways. And maybe part of that is just, waiting for that inspiration of how to do it differently.
I guess the word assistance feels interesting, an interesting choice of words to me.
Yeah.
Like I could see that, you're held back sometimes because the timing's not right. You need more information, but until you're available to receive assistance. So someone's going to help you with that emotional experience. And I'm just, that feels a little, I'd have to sit and contemplate. It would be interesting if there's anybody out there who's got gate 35 line 2 in their chart that wants to talk about how that shows up for them. I would love to hear that. Okay, line 3
is collaboration.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And that one, the sun is actually in detriment. So line 3 will be what? Monday, Tuesday? Probably sometime Tuesday. The need to be the center that ignores the importance of others. The need to be the center for progress. Okay, so this is a day that's about collaboration and not feeling like you're the one driving all the progress, right?
And going back to line 2 as well. So this is the wave for this is that collective wave, right?
Right.
So for anybody who isn't familiar with the waves, there's the individual wave, there's the tribal wave, and then there's the collective wave. And the collective wave is a little bit longer. So it goes up, 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 and then it crashes down. And it's not right or wrong. It's just different. It's over a longer period of time. And so potentially with that too, it's that there's that collective insight. So it's, potentially that assistance from, especially with the 35, it is about that sharing. Maybe there's a piece of sharing it.
Yeah.
May I say something?
Sure.
Is it possible that
we ourselves could block people helping us. There,
sure.
because you were saying about, we're waiting for somebody to help or something to help or whatever. And maybe it's when we actually, perhaps this transit actually helps us to open up to accept the help from someone.
Yeah, very, very possible. And Chaitan calls this line combining, sharing experiences with others. And he describes the detriment as you tend to take a pivotal role in everything, often disregarding other people's roles. So that's, that one feels very similar. I notice also in the Facebook group, Aaron is saying that he has a friend's birthday tomorrow. And he says, your explanation of these gates transits are so helpful to understanding them. That's cool, Aaron. If there's any particular questions you have, or you want to jump on the Zoom, we'd love to hear more about it.
So line 4 is hunger. And this is really interesting because hunger, are you eating, Julia?
Well, I'm working, but I have, the transit is my Venus is in gate 35.4.
Yeah. And so that, even with the whole energy of the 35, there's a hunger to it. There's a hunger for these like new experiences, but it's never like sated, right? It's like momentarily sated. It's like, okay, I've had this experience. Like you're hungry and you eat a little bit of food. And then it's like, okay, I feel okay right now. And then you're hungry again, right? Because you want this new experience. You want some more food, right?
Mercury's in 35.4 right now too.
Mm.
So I'm not sure. Are you saying you?
No, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I made a mistake, but I have the Mercury transiting my gates. It's making a channel in my
The transits are the same for everyone. So we all.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were saying you had, but you said you don't have gate 35 in your.
No, I just transiting through at 34.4, 30.
Yeah, that's where it is for all of us. Right.
Yeah.
It's Mercury.
Okay.
Right. So
sorry.
No, that's fine. Okay, so being where were we? I'm sorry, I lost my.
So you're doing 35.4.
Okay, so it's called hunger, as you said, and then it's the insatiable appetite for progress is what Ra refers to it as. And then Chaitan says being impulsive, the yearning to demand progress at any cost. Check your authority when you are pushing for experiences without any obvious goals in sight. So this is when you're just, doing it just to do it. This kind of thrill-seeking energy, or like, let me see what happens. This is feels like the energy of like, let me see what happens when I touch these two wires together. Right? Yeah. Right. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be fun to find out, or if, or not. So,
Right.
Okay. And line 5.
Line 5. So 35, line 5 is altruism.
Okay. The sacrifice of personal for communal progress. And that's, in Chaitan, he calls it being honorable. Tempering expectations in favor of progress. You enhance experiences by giving of yourself, whether you feel personally benefited or not. Okay, so there's a lot of selflessness in this one, right? But and it's saying you enhance experiences, so you're enhancing the experience for other people, even if it's not doing anything for you, right? Obviously, or at least obviously doing.
And that comes back to that sharing piece where you're having that experience, but it's maybe not necessarily like the best experience for you, where it wasn't like, oh, I got something from this experience, but you get to share it. And so other people can take something away from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Casey, you said savior, and I don't know what you meant there.
Oh, I just mean like line 5, the 5th line, savior, collective sharing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like you're being the savior instead, rather than being the heretic. You're, in this case, adding to the experience. Right. Okay, so line 6.
Reflection.
Rectification was the word. I think you wrote down wrong. I'm looking at the book. It's rectification. Is line 6. in gate 35.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
The
I
energy
wrote the
to
wrong
connect.
word. I made up my own word.
Well, it is a word, but you just wrote the wrong long R word. Rectification is the energy to correct. So Chaitan calls it self-examining, a readiness to re-examine and realign your outward feelings. Regretting any experience impels you to modify your ways simply or with a complete overhaul. So when you have an experience that goes wrong, you rectify it, right? You're going to examine it. You're going to make things right. You're going to want to do things differently, make changes. That's very sixth line. That makes sense. And I guess you reflect in order to do that. So you were just, right? Okay. So yeah, and in the I Ching it says gate 35, by design, progress cannot exist in a vacuum, is dependent on interaction. So this is, all of these things come about through experiences, mostly with people, right? These are emotional interactions. These come about through what happens when we engage with others. So, okay, go have fun, Casey. Casey's going to dance now. You can catch the rest on replay. So, okay, so that was gate 35. And now we're going to talk about gate 5. Julia, do you have gate 5 in your chart? And Jonathan's on here too. I don't know if you have either of these energies. I know you're not on camera, but if Jonathan wants to put in the comments.
I have design gate 5.4.
And what's it? It's design what?
Yeah, can you hear me, guys? Might need to.
Yeah, I can hear you. 1 second, Julia. What planet is it?
No.
Your moon? Oh, awesome. Okay. And Jonathan, do you have either of these gates?
Yeah, I have gate 5, line 6 here on my personality Mercury.
Your personality, Mercury. Okay. Awesome. So we're going to talk about 5, and both you guys have it. I do not have either of these gates. Neither does Jess. Defined, that is. But what's interesting, and I almost hesitate to mention it because I don't really know enough about it to really talk about it well, but I know that we all have what's called a dream rave, a sleep chart. And when we lay down, instead of our design being activated by the 88 degrees of the sun, it becomes defined by 88 degrees of the moon. So the design of your sleep chart can have different different gates. And gate 5 is active in my sleep chart. And so that is what's called a weak spot, which some people say is a place where you can become highly conditioned by that energy while you sleep. So I've always thought that's interesting, since I have no real rhythms of timing and stuff. And I also don't really have very good rhythms of sleep. Although that's not true. I wake up every hour and a half. That's a rhythm. I
just looked at mine, and actually, yeah. No, I lie. There's no. Line 5. Never mind.
Okay. So gate 5 is the gate of fixed rhythms. It's also known as the gate of waiting. And it is the fundamental attunement to natural rhythms, waiting as an active state of awareness, right? And this is the channel the gate we were talking about earlier when we were saying that later tonight, Jupiter is moving into gate 15. So gate 5 will connect with gate 15, and we will all feel that full channel of the channel of rhythm. So, gate 5 is on the sacral, and it connects with, do you want to show your little, she's got her, so where gate 5
I get
is on the
excited.
sacral. And Jess is pulling that up. But for those of you who might be listening on the podcast or something, it's on the sacral. It's the one when you're looking at it is the top left, and it points towards the identity center, and it will connect with gate 15 if you have it, or like tonight when Jupiter is there. So this is one of what are this is a really powerful energy. And if you have this defined in your chart where you have the whole channel, it's often described as aura busting energy, because this energy is just really noticeable. People feel it, right? And especially the gate 15. If somebody has a hanging gate 15, like Casey, when they walk into a room, you just feel their presence, right? So in Chaitan's book, he talks about universal timing. All aspects of life have rituals, sequences, and timing, both natural and opposed. And he says, this is what inspired my gardening clothes and being outside today. The gardener finds ease in any circumstance by attuning to the natural season of change. There's also a potential difficulty working within others' time frames, right? You cannot tell a flower to bloom on your time frame. It takes a lot of manipulation to get these florist blooms to bloom at different times and do all that stuff. It's very difficult. So, but out in nature, it ain't gonna happen, right? So, Julia, you look like you wanted to say something.
So, I run a food truck. And I have no opening or closing times on my food truck. And when people ask me, what time do you open? I say, well, I try to open at 10. This is usually about 11:30. And I close when either I've run out of food, I'm bored, or it's 3:00.
Interesting.
I don't wear a watch. I literally follow every decision I make. I've learned to do it in my own time. And I sometimes think that time expands for me because of that very thing.
What is your type?
I am a generator, an emotional generator.
Okay.
5'2", 2'5".
2-5 emotional generator. Okay. And you have gate 5 in line what?
4.
4. Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute, but that's interesting. Yeah, so your rhythm is very much just whatever feels right to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels
And I never go to a meeting unless I have to make a decision. And I make that very clear. Never invite me to a meeting unless I have to make a decision. I won't turn up.
Okay.
So it's a waste of my time and rhythm.
Okay. That's interesting. And then, okay, so let's go through the lines. So you have line 4, and I think Jonathan said he had line 6.
Line 6,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
so interesting. I love that because Phaedra is also line 4. So she's gate 5, line 4 as well. And her rhythm is the same kind of like in tune rhythm. I love that. Yeah. Very
Her own rhythm. It's not anybody else's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to add
this one, the highest expression, you know how there's the shadow expression of impatience, the gift of patience, and the highest expression of line 5 is timelessness. So that feels really relevant to that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And so just wanted to add real quick. So with the 515, that channel of rhythm, that's actually universal to like whole life, right? Which is kind of cool to think about. Like whole life has this in it, right? Being in that flow, that energy.
Yeah. So that's in plants too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's so cool.
Yeah.
King. No, the plant kingdom only has gate 15. Gate 5 comes from the gardeners. So we bring that part of it.
Yeah.
So the plant, I'm just looking in the back of, that's another nice thing in the back of Chaitan's book. He has all of the designs. So the plant kingdom has a hanging gate 15. Viruses, however, have the 15-5.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you have gate 5, does that make you a good gardener? Everything grows around me.
I don't know. That would
It's
be
just saying my mind. You know, if you're saying every plant has gate 15 and I have gate 5, and then we come together and create a channel.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to my plants. I do walk through the garden going, hey, how are you? I'm sorry I haven't done this today. And you know, I'm shit, but it's not raining.
that might be a really good question or poll or something
for the group.
This conversation.
Love that.
Are you a
Okay.
good gardener? And do you have gate 5? And I mean, I love to garden. Am I a good gardener? I'm very, I'm persistent, but I have a lot of things that, I have to move a lot. And some things that, like, I just recently was like, okay, I guess I'm not meant to have hukara or coral bells because they're still there. They might come back, but they're just I bought so many of those and they just do not grow in my yard. Something eats them, something whatever. So, there's certain things that I just feel like, okay, these don't work for me, but I love encouraging, I love propagating, I love, all that stuff. And it just depends on what it is. So, that was
a few years ago, I had what's it called in English? Barre. I'm in Holland, so I have to sometimes think what is my English. Anyway, this plant, a big plant, it's beautiful. And when I got it, I actually left it in its pot, and I took it around the garden,
yeah,
and I let it choose its spot.
that's awesome. I love that.
And then I was like, I kept going, "No, you don't like it here, you don't like it here, you don't like it." And then I put it right outside my kitchen door, and it's gone mental. So maybe with your plants, maybe you need to say to it, where do you want to be?
I think what's happening is my yard is so established that I get a spot, and I'm like, "Ooh, I have room for something here. What could I?"
Instead of asking the plant, does it want to be there?
What could I put here is what I ask, and yeah. So that's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's go to line 1 for gate 5.
Line 1. So Phaedra, who also has, again, the 5 line 4, she was just sharing that she talks to her plants as well. And she's like, they tell me when they're needed. They tell me when they need something. So I think there's something to this gate, potentially line 4, just gate 5. But just a reminder, just because you have a gate, there's always that empowered version of it. And there's like the disempowered, right? Just because you're bringing the energy of something, is this bringing the energy with like nurturing and loving and like speaking to your plants? Because just because you have that communication with them, is it a kind empowered communication, right? Versus you're bringing this energy and you're going, plants, why aren't you growing? So looking at it also, there's that nuance to it. So gate 5, line 1. Also, my thing is blinking at me. It says I have 12 minutes. So I think we're gonna get through, but just in case, I might disappear. Gate 5, line 1 is perseverance.
Okay, and I have little addition of, if the captain must, he goes down with the ship. And this actually has the earth in detriment, the premature and often disastrous urge to cut one's losses, weakness in maintaining one's rhythm when challenged. So, if that feels like it could be, like you just quit because someone challenges you, right? So here, let me read it. So Jaitan says, attuning, persistently paying attention to your own inner timing. Life is full of distractions that can pull you away from your inherently natural timing. And the earth in detriment is failing to honor your own timing and give in to imposed demands brings exhaustion. So this is energy on the sacral, right? And it's your timing. And when you get these people, somebody who's imposing something, and you give in where you don't have the yes, that can be disastrous. So line 2.
Line 2 is inner peace.
The ability to ignore the temptation to take premature action. Chaitan's book says, finding tranquility, watchfully waiting for your own right timing. All actions have an appropriate timing, and you are either comfortable with waiting or not. Line 3.
Line 3 is compulsiveness.
The fear engendered by the sense of helplessness, resulting in unnecessary stress and activity. And Chaitan calls it being nervous, the potential to become anxious when it seems nothing is happening. All waiting has an implied helplessness that can prompt you to act without clear motivation. that just do something kind of energy. Like I got to just do something and you don't know what it is. You just do anything. That makes sense. So line 4, which we've been talking about for Julie.
Line 4, yes. And this makes so much sense, is the hunter. How do you feel about the hunter?
Waiting as a guarantee of survival. And it's, I'm looking for closer. Waiting as okay. So biding time is what Chaitan calls it. Patience that leaves you open to find worthwhile opportunities. Watching prevailing conditions and weighing your options until opportunities appear. So that feels like taking the plant around the garden and watching the things and just seeing when it feels right. It feels like that energy, right? And you said this is your moon, your design moon, right? So your design moon is all about what draws people to you. It's your attraction sphere and gene keys. So it has this unconscious, some bug just flew at me. Oh.
Your turn, Kenny, or by a bug.
I've got this giant, I actually put it in the notes here. I've got this giant bite on my neck here. And it was so funny because I was like, I feel like I have to mention it because do you remember when everybody in high school would get hickeys and they'd always tell you it was a bug bite?
Yeah.
Like, well, it's a bug bite. It goes with this whole nature theme. So anyway.
So she's actually sitting outside to hide the hickey on her neck. And pretend it was a bug.
Looking for a different kind of experience, right?
Go back to what you were saying about my moon and attraction.
Yes.
With it being in 4, is that I have to resist spontaneity. I have to allow it to come to me in quietness. I spend a lot of time alone. Being a generator, I allow myself to respond to love. If I go somewhere and somebody is attracted towards me or something thinks, I wait. And I keep on waiting until I know that it's the right thing for me.
It feels
I can't be around chaotic environments or inconsistent. It drives me crazy. I feel completely about it. And I have my own timing, my own rituals, my own way of doing things. It's not because I'm selfish or anything like that. It's just that it works for me. That bug is one you, baby.
He's like, it's like one of those big black wasp things. I'm like, I don't know where he went now. He's underneath this table. Okay. So, now line 5. Oh, did I just hit
Joy.
Waiting as an aspect of enlightenment. Chaitan calls it inner balancing. Innocent acceptance of life's rhythm is a vital quality of being. Seeing what life offers can be a delight, or if you insist life should bring more, a challenge, right? So a certain amount of acceptance there, right? And then last but not least, we have line 6, which is Jonathan said it was his, Jonathan's gone.
I think he said it was his Mercury, personality Mercury.
I think you're right. Okay. So maybe he'll catch this in the replay.
Yes.
No.
And line 6 is yielding.
Waiting is never free from pressure, physical or mental, and is often punctuated by the unexpected. And Chaitan calls it releasing, letting go of any pressures involved in waiting by trusting universal order. In all growth, there is pressure. Honoring natural rhythms enables your readiness for response. So, so those are the lines. And it feels like we're going to have an interesting week. I feel a lot of, that bug is coming back. I'm like you that day when the spider was on you. Right? I mean, this dude is, you know what? I want to get a picture of him closer. He's funky looking. It's not a wasp-like thing. He's got some kind of weird, I don't know. I don't know what he is. Anyway, he's part of the rhythm of nature. Yeah. So, okay. I think at any minute he's going to fly right in front of the camera, though. And
he's like, I want to be included.
Hey, there's your screenshot grab for this other.
Kathy's turn.
For those of you on the podcast, you're missing all the beautiful faces I'm making because I'm really not a person who's afraid of bugs, but that one keeps getting a little close, and he's very. I don't know what he wants with me. So, he wants to give me an emotional experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be an interesting week, and I invite you to check out the transit talk report that I put up in the group. And I have not written the blog yet, but I have a lot of thoughts on that. And I did want to share
Birthday. Would love to share. So we started doing monthly birthdays for everybody whenever it's your birthday. At the end of the month before, we're going to put a post in there just asking like whose birthday's upcoming. We want to celebrate you. We want to say happy birthday. Also, if you want to connect with anybody who shares the same incarnation, definitely do that. So Suzanne said her birthday is June 24th. So happy birthday. And her incarnation is, so she's the 15, 10, 17, 18. Very cool. And she's left angle cross off prevention.
Cool. So it's a great way if you just post in there what you're in the Intuitive Human Design Facebook group. So if you're somebody who's listening to this on the podcast and you're not part of the group, that's what we're talking about. If you put your birthday details in there, you don't need to put your actual birth details, but like Jess just said, your incarnation cross and such. So it's always fun to talk to somebody who has the same incarnation cross as you or a similar one. And it's neat because there's also, some people don't realize that your incarnation cross is impacted by your profile, right? So if you're 2-5 like Julia, you in the same gates as somebody else who might be a 5-2, they're going to have a different name to their cross, even though the gates are the same. So it's just a fun way to kind of hook up with some people who might be interesting, because I always feel like a great part of the experiment is to talk to other people about how things feel for them, so that you can really see the nuances of your own design, not because anybody else is doing it right and you're doing it wrong or vice versa, but because you can see, oh, maybe that's not something that I've always thought is just because I'm a projector. You realize how many other projectors don't feel that way, that same thing. And you realize that all the intricacies of your design. So yeah, so that's the thing we're doing. So, and then I did want to just tell people, June 11th, Jess and I are going to be doing another masterclass. This one is not going to be online. Not going to be in Facebook. It's going to be just on Zoom, so you can sign up for it. We'll put the details in the group and in the show notes. If anybody is interested, it's free masterclass for karma clearing by design. And yeah, so anything else you want to say before you run out of battery?
I was just saying, you tell I was checking. I was like, oh my goodness, how much juice do I have left?
Yeah, any more juice? Anyway,
Like, juice.
You got anything else you wanted to share? No? We're good?
No, enjoy the change, the progress, the rhythms, and, share with us like what you're feeling, because collectively we're experiencing this, right? And it's also nuanced. So yeah.
I wanted to say one thing about the 35-36 channel. We have been experiencing so often for the last few years, because we just came out like 2 years-ish of Neptune being in gate 36. And now we have had the nodes in gate 36. Well, the nodes are moving out of gate 36, gate 6, and into gates 2247, I think it is, later this month. So when that happens, we're going to not keep feeling this channel. We've had so much of a push from the universe to experience this transitoriness, these emotional experiences. All of this channel has become so commonplace for us over the last few years that it's been a really strong emotional couple of years. And not to say that it won't necessarily be emotional, it'll just be different, right? It's not going to be so much about emotional experiences. And so to really look at this last week, this is the last week that we have this channel until December. So that's a big time for us to go without feeling this channel based on how often we've been feeling it lately. So, okay. All right, guys. Peace out. Thanks for joining me.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.